It's meme time, it's meme time. Gather all your friends, it's meme time. It's meme time, it's meme time. The only cure for sadness.
So our story continues as we return to Cedra and Mojito floating in the vast depths of space outside of a planet they had recently destroyed. The pair have just looked down, realizing that they have both been stabbed through the chest by an unknown attacker's energy blade. Cedra can only cough out a mouthful of blood and looks down to the glowing keyblade protruding out of the fresh hole in their chest, muttering, Mojito, how is this possible? Mojito meanwhile tries to remain as calm as he can, despite being in a fairly overwhelming amount of pain from being stabbed through the body, but just like us, he knows who this is likely to be an attack from, and tries his best not to alarm his lord as he replies, Lord Cedra, I'm afraid your plan may not have been as successful as you first thought. Look behind me. It cannot be! But as Cedra does look behind him, his face is instantly left shocked as he stares into the now cold and angry eyes of none other than Ultra Vegito. More damage than usual and a puddle of fresh blood on his face as Cedra then yells out in a mixture of fear and anger, No! 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 You... How could you survive a planetary level Hakai? There's no way you could have known until it was too late! But Vegito, who floats a short while away in the inky void of space, just stands tall, silent, emotionless, and looking down at the next god to meet his Godslayer blade. Reeling in the idea of watching Cedra squirm and panic without a hint of remorse in his face, he disregards the god's questions and grumbles. Cedra, you dirty, disgusting, fat rat! How could you? How could you destroy your own men? Your own people? Of your own universe? For what? For what, Cedra? Do you not value the lives of us mortals at all? Do you truly see yourself that far above us, you monsters? For your sins, you will die by my hand, Cedra! As instantly feelings of anger rush over the Saiyan, his face twisting into one of complete outrage. The God Killer tries his best to contain the raw power brought on by his pain and rage, but as his veins bulge out, a crackling, surging lightning aura continues to shoot out from his body. Meanwhile, listening in paralysis, Cedra and Mojito are shown still unable to move, impaled like meat on a kebab, still by Vegito, as both only look on at what they're seeing in total shock. It's not long before Cedra realizes just how high Vegeta's power level is skyrocketing and how dangerous it's becoming, commenting, His power! Mojito, this energy isn't normal. He's unstable. We need to get out of here now! But despite this, Mojito's face suddenly changes to one that is cold and derelict. A serious look on his mug, as now tired of this situation, he responds, No, my lord. We will not run from this demon. You are the mighty god of destruction of Universe 9, and I am your sworn angel, a child of the Grand Priest himself. This Vegito is nothing in comparison to us, and I, for one, will not allow this to go on any further. As instantly, Mojito then slashes his arm across behind his god of destruction, erasing the energy blade of Vegito completely and with ease, which even surprises Cedra in the process, who mutters, Vegito? But soon, with the angel and god now free, their eyes soon then focus in on their attacker. Both Mojito and Cedra's eyes staring ominously and deeply at Vegito's, with Ultra Vegito's gaze seemingly penetrating their very souls. As the deities remain deathly silent, Vegito breaks the silence, letting out, "Have I got something on my face by chance? I guess you damn gods were never taught to not stare. Might lose your eyes because of it, you know." Disregarding Vegito's threats though, Mojito looks to Sidra and continues, "Lord Sidra, listen to me. Only together will we have a chance to stop him. Though it may seem as though we are on the back foot, in reality, whatever he did to escape that planetary Hakai has severely damaged him. Despite the theatrics, he's more than likely far weaker than he was before. This is our chance, my lord."
Already 2 steps ahead of you, Mojito.
As Sidra, instantly on hearing this, powers up to his full power, losing his pupils in the process as he becomes covered in a ferocious destructive aura. While Mojito, in response, solemnly closes his eyes in respect, responding, "Of course, my lord. I should have known in all your divine wisdom, you would know exactly what I was thinking." And just like that, we are then treated to watching the god and angel side by side, one in his final Hakaishin form, while the other is coated in the divine aura of mastered Ultra Instinct. Usually, even one of these fighters would be enough to stop anyone, but for Ultra Vegito, this was merely only evening the playing field.
The innocence!
But meanwhile, it seems Ultra Vegito has been overwhelmed suddenly by the destruction of the planet he was just on, seemingly hitting a little too close to home and reminding him of when Earth was erased, as he grabs his head with one hand and mutters,
"Go on, Krillin! Pan!"
As now, in a full-on breakdown and mental crisis, Vegito has no choice but to bend his head down and grab it with both arms, as if trying to trap something within from bursting out. As he lets go of his staff and covers his vision, he screams angrily,
Why? Why do you gods treat us as so disposable? What did we ever do to you? You'll pay for this, I promise!
But while Vegito continues to struggle with his thoughts, Sidra and Mojito soon surround Vegito, with Sidra appearing on his left and Mojito on his right. And knowing the opportunity that has just arisen, the God of Destruction yells out with urgency,
Mojito, look! Something has caused the God Killer to lose his mind! He's vulnerable. This is our chance! Attack now!
To which Mojito nods, confirming he is ready to move on his god's command, by responding,
I understand, my lord. We end this now!
as both Sidra and Mojito then rush in separately from either side of Ultra Vegito, at full force, certain that with Vegito preoccupied with his mental instability, they would be able to pull off the defeat of the God Killer finally. Or so they thought, until a downright demonic-like smirk appears on the face of Ultra Vegito as he laughs under his breath, just staring in the direction of Sidra, secretly as if ready to pull off the ultimate Uno reverse card.
Get real, you fools!
As instantly, in a shock twist, Vegito shoots out with a smile 2 ridiculously fast-moving beams of light, ones which seem eerily familiar to an attack he used not too long ago, as he says with a smirk,
Seems all that intelligence couldn't do much to see through my Oscar-winning acting, huh? Ow! No!
Now, in a callback to what happened with the daughters of Heliz, Mojito and Sidra are both grabbed by their throats by the energy beam itself, clutching the life out of them tightly with no hope for escape.
Lord Sidra, what is this? Why can we not remove these?
Leaving even the angel Mojito to be left squirming and struggling, trying to remove the seemingly impenetrable choking device around his neck. While a panicking and enraged Sidra just responds,
Vegito, you sick demon! Get this off of us at once and fight us like a man! What did you just say?
which immediately causes Ultra Vegito to laugh hysterically at the preposterous statement, replying,
Oh, old man, you must be going senile. Did you really just tell me to fight like a man? What part of attacking me 2-on-1 while I faked a mental breakdown was manly, my dear friend? You really are fools. It never ceases to amaze me just how pathetically simple-minded you gods are, considering the many years you've been alive. I guess you must have feared my powers so greatly that even the slightest chance to attack me made you abandon all sense of reason and throw caution to the wind. You should have never expected me to ever let my guard down. And now for that crime, you pay with your lives.
Immediately after, Vegito then glares behind at Mojito like an old chum, who still looks surprised the God Killer could have grabbed him even in his heightened instinct state at all, as Vegito comments,
And you, an angel, using Ultra Instinct no less. It looks like your instincts have completely failed you this time. They should have been telling you to run away, if anything. I guess the Grand Priest must have had all his kids with many different women, because you angels are certainly not all built the same. Whis would have never fell for such an obvious attack. How pathetic. I'll be doing the priest a favor by destroying you here and now, Mojito. Wait, Vegito! Spare me!
But suddenly, Sidra, who can barely keep his eyes open at this point due to the blood loss and lack of oxygen, starts to try and appeal to Vegito, all the while still struggling with their energy hand around his throat, saying,
Please, don't do this. You don't have to. Everything you've done, it can be forgotten. I can help. I can make this right, Vegito.
But in response, Vegito just looks at him coldly. There's no sign of what we'd recognize as Goku or Vegeta in his face anymore, as only hatred and contempt remains. Responding more to humor him than seriously, Vegito questions,
Oh, I see. So you can help, can you? What good is the help of my family's killers, Sidra? The very ones who erased them. You can bring them back? Is that what you're saying? Because if your answer is no, then the only way you can help me is by dying, along with the rest of your blasted divine realm. In just as horrific fashion as my family had to. I won't rest until the gods, angels, the Grand Priest and Zeno are all dead. Do you hear me? Dead!
Sidra, hearing the conviction and anger in Vegito's face, begins sweating, knowing his time has probably almost ran out if he can't convince Vegito with his last play, saying back,
No, you know that I just cannot undo that mistake. But Vegito, if it is truly vengeance you desire on all the gods, I can help. I know things. I am the oldest of the gods of destruction after all. I know all of their strengths, and I know all of their weaknesses. I even know the weakness of the Grand Priest. I'll be happy to share it all. If you just spare me and let me go, Vegito. Just me. That's all I ask.
And for a moment, Vegito actually appears nearly convinced. Neither he nor us could have imagined such a lucrative deal. The almost guarantee of defeating not only every god, but the Grand Priest too. All in exchange for the life of an old man. Vegito in response then lets out,
"The weakness of the Grand Priest, you say? You know the secret to beat all the gods too? What about Zeno? Is that included in the deal?"
To which you're now almost surprised at himself that this is working, Sidra quickly responds,
Yes, of course! I'll be honest, the weakness for Zeno is far harder to exploit than the one for the Grand Priest. But there is one, I can confirm that at least. I can give you all the information you desire to ensure your victory. You have my word. Just give me yours that you will spare my life in return.
Having heard the full plea, Vegito looks at the ground for a moment, but says nothing. This deal is actually promising, and both Vegito and us as an audience know it. Near enough Vegito's entire goal could be accomplished. Just what will his reply be as he begins?
Fine. My answer is... die!
As Vegito instantly looks up with a maniacal smile, completely bamboozling Lord Zedra once again. He was never even considering his plea at all, but merely just enjoying the slight glimmer of hope he gave the god before crushing it in front of him. And ironically, following this, Vegito raises his arm ominously before instantly clutching his fingers down into a fist, as if crushing something else in his hand.
No, Vegito! Don't do this! Please!
But instantly, despite Cedra's last-ditch effort and attempt to save his own skin, his neck is immediately crushed. And ultimately, then left decapitated in an even more brutal fashion than what happened with Liquor, as crimson red blood pours out of his jugular veins as if never ending. Meanwhile, his angel, who has remained quiet all this time as he watched as his god begged for his own life, remains shaking in fear, only able to mutter, Lord Zedra, no! But Vegito, completely unmerciless in the face of the sorrow and sadness the angel feels, just callously turns around with a nothing short of evil smirk and says,
"Quit whining, Angel. It's your turn next."
So our story continues with us seeing the once calm and collected angel Mojito, with a look of despair as he whimpers at just seeing his own god die before his eyes, still grabbing tightly onto the energy ring around his neck, struggling fruitlessly to escape now that all his angelic powers have left him. Ultra Vegito meanwhile remains in the air, still in position, staring at the bloody mess that is now Zedra, and with a signature smirk lets out,
"Wow! Look at all that blood, Zedra! And here I thought you were only full of crap."
As following this, Vegito then raises his arm, slowly saying as he does,
"But I think it's time to say our final goodbyes. Don't you think, Angel?"
"What? No! Leave Lord Zedra alone! You've done enough, you monster!" Leaving Mojito to scream and struggle in anguish in the background even more as the heartless Vegito continues to raise his arm until...
Hakai!
With a thunderous roar, Ultra Vegito shouts the final words he reserves for all gods after killing them, using their own technique to send them to the realm of nothingness. And like clockwork, Cedra's deceased and decapitated body then proceeds to disintegrate to dust. Like a sandcastle breaking down, the once god of destruction of Universe 9 is nothing more than a memory now.
No! Lord Cedra! I failed you.
As one final time, the angel Mojito, who had attended to Cedra for millennia, now watches as his life as he knows it is changed for eternity, seeing not only his lord, but his student and friend be erased forever. Eventually leaving Vegito, standing with his arm out and with Cedra now completely gone, as Vegito finally says,
Now, let's move on to you, Mojito. Want me to take your head off first? Or do you prefer an old-fashioned Hakai while you're still alive? Vegito!
But now that sorrow and sadness has shifted completely to complete rage and anger, unbefitting of an angel, as his emotions take over him and he responds,
You demon! Mark my words, you will pay for this! Your time is coming soon, Vegito. The minute my father arrives will be your last minute in existence. For what you did to the gods and myself, you will pay for 1,000 lifetimes!
But Vegito, upon hearing this, is almost excited by the words, not bothered in the slightest by these same threats all the gods have made to him before, as he sarcastically responds,
Oh, I'm quaking in my boots, Mojito. Not your big bad midget for a father. Oh, whatever will I do? Struggle and say all you want, Angel. You know as well as I do, this is the end for you. If I were you, I'd have made my last words a lot more positive than those. But each to their own, I guess. Enjoy nothingness, you weakling!
as Vegito, just like before, begins raising his hand, ready to close it at any instant and snap off Mojito's head identically to Cedra's, upping the tension as he grimaces his face, staring at Mojito and yells,
Ah!
But suddenly something happens. Vegito's face becomes full of shock as on his left shoulder, blood begins to pour out. But from what?
Let go of my brother, demon! What?
As out of nowhere, what appears to be a young girl suddenly falls from the sky, wielding a familiar staff that effortlessly cuts through Vegito's arm like butter, shockingly severing it completely from the God Killer as he watches it separate in complete shock.
You! My arm! You!
Leaving him to be left unable to even form coherent sentences from the completely unexpected turn of events. As it is soon revealed, finally, the young girl is none other than Kusu, the Angel of Universe 10 who was mysteriously missing from action when Vegito assassinated Brumchi. An overlooked mistake he will now regret for the rest of his life. As Kusu continues, I'll be taking those rings back now, Vegito, even if it means with your arm itself too. I have no idea why Lord Brumchi instructed me to stay when he went to confront you, but nothing will hold me back now from protecting my siblings!
Kusu! I thought you had died! There's no way!
The sudden arrival, of course, of the petite angel causes Mojito to instantly question in disbelief whether what he sees is really his older sister or just a last, fleeting apparition before his untimely death. But eventually, Kusu moves from the stunned, in paralysis from the shocked Vegito and flies straight towards her brother, yelling, "Mojito, are you okay?" Which immediately then validates Mojito's thoughts as he yells back with a beaming smile, "Kusu, it really is you! I can't believe it! Good going on injuring that monster! You really saved me, sister!" Eventually, as Kusu arrives next to Mojito, she attempts to calm down her brother, who still clings onto the energy collar around his neck, as she explains the situation that went down in her own universe, saying, "Of course, I wouldn't let my little brother go out like that. This Vegito has already managed to erase Lord Rumchi, and even killed 2 Supreme Kais while he was at it too. Lord Rumchi had instructed me to stay put and not interfere under any circumstance, and as his attendant, I obeyed. But now that he's gone, I just couldn't stand by and watch anymore. Mojito, it's been a long time since we ever fought together in our training days with Father. But today, we'll put an end to this together, for the sake of all our brothers and sisters." But hearing this, Mojito can't help but still look at Kusu with confusion and replies, "Kusu? He just killed Lord Sidra, and you're saying he killed Rumchi too? Then what do you mean, sister? We can stop him as we are now. You know as well as I do, as soon as our god dies, our angelic powers instantly become inactive. I am completely powerless right now, and so should you. It's a big mystery how you were even able to damage Vegito like that. What's going on?" Kusu, though, seemingly anticipating such a line of questioning, just smiles back and replies, "Haha, well, that would be the case normally. But many years ago, Father told me that within my staff, and a number of others, he built certain emergency functions. I do not know the powers the other angels have, but he told me mine was to manually reactivate our angel abilities, but only for 48 hours. Again, he made it clear that it had to be used only in the most necessary of situations, but with Father not having done anything about this monster yet, I'd say this was more an emergency than any. My only issue is, I've expended most of my time by now. But for you, once I reactivate your powers, you'll have a full 48. You need to use it wisely, Mojito." And after hearing this explanation, rather than worry about the time limit, Mojito looks at Kusu with a smile and says, "So the rumors were true. Father really did have his favorites. I was never given any special powers, but I guess Father never really did bother to talk to me much. But you, Kusu, what a ridiculous power to have embedded solely for his little Miss Perfect. No matter about the 48 hours, that along with whatever time you have left should be more than enough. 2-on-1, and this now one-armed Vegito fellow will be done for. Let's do this, Kusu!" To which Kusu then nods back with a serious look and replies, "Got it, brother. Now stand still. This will be quick." And with that, Kusu immediately fires off a beam of divine white aura from the palm of her hand. As instantly, the energy ball hits and surrounds Mojito in the iconic Ultra Instinct aura we know the angels for, surprising even Mojito himself as he comments, You weren't kidding, Kusu. I can feel my energy return. No, I feel even stronger than before. This is outstanding." And so just like that, we then see for the first time dual angels, brother and sister, surrounded in divine mastered Ultra Instinct aura, ready to take on Vegito with all their might, with Kusu screaming, "Alright, Mojito, I probably only have an hour left, for the sake of Father." No, For the sake of the entire multiverse, we will avenge our fallen brothers! To which Mojito gets his staff in position and replies, "Certainly, my sister. I will enjoy this demon's final moments."
God damn it!
But meanwhile, back with Vegito, the adrenaline from the shock of seeing what Kusu did to him finally fades, and the pain and burn of his now blood-spewing shoulder begins to set in, as he clutches his shoulder to stem the blood and yells angrily,
You! What have you done to me? My arm! My rings! You'll die 1,000 deaths for this, Angel!
And now the look of anger never before seen so intensely on Vegito's face, as veins bulge over not only his face, but in the whites of his eyes too. He lets out intimidatingly,
First, your damn daddy locks me up for 10 years of my life, making your own brother Whis off himself just to make things right. And then you take my entire family away from me for eternity, and now you undo what your own brother wished for and take away my own arm from me too. Why don't you damn angels just accept your punishment and die already?
and with just one arm still leaking a trail of blood, Vegito rushes in at the two angels, angrier than ever. But unfortunately, weaker too than ever after training for a year non-stop in the GT timeline, surviving a planetary Hakai and Hakaiing Lord Sidra, all without a second of rest. And ultimately the two angels, in all their wisdom, know this too, smiling without a hint of fear in their heart as Vegito approaches, with Kusu thinking, and here, the fool finally comes.
Yeah!
With Vegito beginning with an enraged punch that uncharacteristically misses under the exceptional movements of Kusu's Ultra Instinct, with the little girl commenting, "Too slow, God Killer." And as her confidence grows, a smirk comes across her lips as she continues, "I guess since you're missing an arm, I don't need to worry about a follow-up attack. I guess it's my turn now then." As suddenly, with alarming speed and power, Kusu swings her staff right at Vegito. For a moment, Vegito is left frozen. He wonders if he does anything to stop the staff, will it just slice through him again?
Not this time, you witch!
But ultimately, he brings his arm up at the last second, knowing as long as he isn't caught off guard and his arm is imbued with his ki, her staff will not cut through anything. But unfortunately, even with that block, there was nothing in the way now to defend himself on the other side as Kusu instinctively follows up with a kick that lands, sending Vegito flying as he thinks,
Damn it! I haven't got used to having one arm yet! I still think it's there when it's not! I can't fight like this! I need to! What?
But before Vegito can even finish his thoughts, right behind him appears Mojito, he too gripping his angel staff with both hands until Vegito is slammed on the back of his neck with a blow that would normally leave anyone paralyzed, as Vegito coughs out blood and momentarily loses consciousness, being sent now flying uncontrollably toward the depths of space. Sister, it's working just as you thought. Father would be proud. This mortal upstart doesn't even stand a chance. To which Kusu, with an even bigger smile, replies, "Hahaha, and only barely 10 minutes have passed, brother. We still have plenty of time to finish this, and have some fun with him too." As the two ferociously continue to chase after Vegito's vulnerable, flailing body, still not satisfied with the damage they've already inflicted on the Saiyan. Eventually though, Vegito manages to regain himself in the midst of space, staring into his impending fate as both angels rush in. In the brief seconds he has left, he continues to think to himself,
No! This isn't how this was supposed to go! I've lost too much blood and energy! Surprise attack after surprise attack has drained all my energy just trying to survive! And with one arm, I don't have a hope in hell of defending myself to pull off a win! What is even going on here? We said their powers should have deactivated the minute the gods died! It happened with Korn. Why isn't it the same here? Something is wrong, but I don't know what. I need to get out of here and regroup.
"Hello, God Killer! Miss us?" But time is cut short, as in a flash, both Mojito and Kusu appear before the Saiyan menacingly, smiling from ear to ear knowing just how helpless the once feared God Killer now is. As Mojito says, "Now be a good boy and let me chop off that other arm too. I wouldn't want you to use those remaining time rings, would we, Kusu?"
Solar Flare!
But while the cocky angels take their time threatening the thought to be helpless Vegito, the Fused Saiyan unexpectedly takes a page from Tien Shinhan's book and unleashes an incredible bright light that blinds even the angels.
No, Kusu! We took too long!
As both Mojito and his sister close their eyes momentarily and cover them from the burning bright light, leaving Vegito finally some time to make his escape as he says to himself,
Got him! Enjoy seeing nothing but white lights, you freak! A little gift from one of your victims. His name was Tien.
And just like that, Vegito rushes off, leaving the two angels in his dust, his arm still bleeding as he looks back knowing he can't even risk attacking them in this state. All he can do is run whether he likes it or not.
Over there!
And within seconds, Vegito plots course to a random planet below to find anywhere at all to hide or recover in some way. He still has some of the time rings left, but would he really escape without retrieving his arm to reattach? Eventually, Vegito arrives on the surface of the planet with a small thud, and for just a brief moment, he looks around to survey his surroundings, thinking,
What? This planet literally has no life force at all! It's nothing but rocks! Barely anywhere to get some space!
As Vegito then grunts as he continues to run frantically to find any sort of cover to hide from the hunting angels above, thinking to himself,
There's got to be something around here! How can this massive planet not have even a hint of life? It's basically a glorified moon! Finally! This will do for now.
But eventually though, Vegito does find himself at the foot of a large cave entrance. Pitch black inside, he decides to enter with his godly energy signature completely untraceable. But once inside and calming down in the darkness, he begins to think on his next moves, still grabbing onto his bloody shoulder, trying to remain conscious.
They should have recovered from that solar flare by now, but they'll never figure out I'm here. They probably think I escaped with the staff, or even my current time rings. But there's no way in hell I'm leaving without that arm. Each of those rings provides instant access to another timeline. And on top of that, if I get that arm soon enough, I'll still be able to reattach it.
Oh, we know exactly how important that arm is to you, demon! But suddenly, Vegito's calm thoughts are interrupted by a pair of familiar voices creepily yelling at him in tandem. Vegito slowly turns his head into the darkness, seeing nothing at first as he comments,
What the? Who's there? No, it couldn't be!
and in a scene straight out of a horror flick, two pairs of demonic-looking eyes with two creepy grins to match suddenly appear from within the darkness. Through whatever means, the angels have found Vegito, and there is no way to escape.
L is for lovers who love one another. A is for ass, of which I like to eat. U is for you're the only one for me. G is for the only gamer I see. H is for happy, I always feel it when you put it together. What do you get?